Hello, my name is Alexandre Chan, and we will be covering the brain today. Today we will be highlighting 5 main parts: where is the brain located and what is it, what the brain does, parts of the brain and its normal functions, what happens when things go wrong. Today we'll be covering strokes and the novel treatment to help paralyzed stroke patients. First off, where is the brain? The brain, along with the spinal cord, is part of the CNS, which is the central nervous system. The brain is found in your head, right here, and is protected by your skull. The spinal cord then connects the rest of your brain to the nervous system. Now you know where it is. It's time to know what it does and what is the brain. In humans, the brain is most commonly known as the control center. It controls most of, if not all of, the body functions in your body. Your thoughts, your body systems, and even your tiny little movements. The brain, like all organs, are made of tiny little cells. However, the brain is made up of a special nerve cell called neurons. These neurons, when activated and fired, send signals from the brain to the rest of your body. From the CNS, the central nervous system, to the PNS, the peripheral nervous system, which is all your nerves and everything, and then to your muscles, which propagates the action. These signals control your speech, your movement, your thinking process, and your senses. Here are 3 main parts of the brain. The cerebrum, which contains the 4 lobes, the frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal lobe. I'll be covering that a bit more later. The cerebellum, which governs coordination of movements, and the brainstem, which connects the brain to the spinal cord. It also controls your regulatory and automatic body functions like breathing and heartbeat. Here's a simplified map of the human brain. We have the cerebrum here. It has the 4 lobes, so the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the temporal lobe, and the occipital lobe. Here is the cerebellum, right here, cerebellum, and we have the brainstem, which connects to your spinal cord. And just to give you an understanding of the 4 lobes, the frontal lobe governs smell, judgment, foresight, and movement, voluntary movement. Parietal governs your comprehension of language, and your occipital mainly governing your visual functions. Your temporal governs your hearing and your intellectual and emotional functions. Interestingly enough, the left hemisphere of the brain controls the majority of the right side of the body, while the right side does the opposite. It controls your left. The crossing of the nerve fibers then take place in your brainstem. But what happens when things go wrong? What happens when one of the regions, the lobes, or the hemisphere gets damaged? Today we'll be focusing on damage from strokes. Strokes are the leading cause of acquired disability among adults. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 15 million people suffer strokes worldwide each year. Of these, 5 million people die, and another 5 million are permanently disabled. A stroke is similar to a heart attack and just as serious. It causes damage to your brain when blood and oxygen flow to the brain is stopped or interrupted. This happens because of a ruptured or blocked blood vessel, most commonly caused by high blood pressure. Without oxygen and other nutrients in your blood, neurons can be damaged and may die. When that happens, you may not be able to talk, understand, or use your arms or legs. For example, with the 2 hemispheres, because each hemisphere controls one side of your body, injury to the one side will produce a sensory or motor deficit to the other side. So if something happens to your left side of the brain, it would damage your right side of the body, or make you lose functions on your right side of the body. The motor and sensor deficit is essentially because the original neural pathways for the neurons to pass signals along have been disrupted or destroyed. But how can scientists and doctors fix these pathways, especially when the patients find themselves already paralyzed? Well, this is Ipsihand. It is a mind-controlled brace. Yes, you've heard that right. That is a mind-controlled machinery that is hooked onto your human body. This novel treatment for paralyzed post-stroke patients was developed by scientists of Washington University School of Medicine. This device comprises of an electrode cap, a computer, and also a movable brace. Let's break each part down. The electrode cap it detects electrical signals in the brain, then the computer amplifies the signals and sends it to the movable brace that fits over the paralyzed hand. The device detects the wearer's intention to open or close the paralyzed hand, and with the second and third fingers it bends to meet the thumb, forming a pincer grip. But why does it work? Well, many stroke patients can still generate the electrical signal that indicates the intention to move. It's just that the old neural pathways for a particular movement is out of commission or not really working properly, so the signal isn't really passed along. The idea is that if those motor signals are associated with moving the same-sided limb with the actual movements of the hand, new connections will be made in your brain. These connections will then provide new neural pathways that allow uninjured areas of your brain to take over control of the paralyzed hand, as such having a new command center. Right now, Ipsihand is currently limited to just grip movements, but we're all hoping that in the future, due to upscaling, it may be possible to reconnect different limbic pathways and probably larger muscles. And that's all for today. Thank you.